Hello, Internet. I wanted to talk today about the theme in fairy tales of not looking back, and also that the theme of playing a game, or the being in the fairy world is like playing a game. So I have been thinking about this concept because I've been playing Hades. I've been reading this book, Neon Gods, which is up there. And what else? I think those are the big two. And so Hades, the game, is about you are the son of Hades and you are trying to battle your way out of the underworld to speak with your mother Persephone. And I've also always been a huge fan of Hades Town. I think it's such a good ballad, really good storytelling. And so those three things are sort of my big three informers on the myth of Orpheus and Eurydice. And so in the tale of Orpheus and Eurydice, if you don't know it, I guess spoilers, but it's been out for like 3,000 years. So, all right, so a quick rundown. Eurydice is in the underworld. She's in hell. And because she got killed in one way or another. And Orpheus is this musician, and he's lovers with Eurydice, right? And she's his muse. And so he goes into hell to try to get her out. And he makes a deal with Hades. And Hades says, you can get her out if on your way up you don't look back at her. And so Orpheus makes the deal. He agrees. And as they're on their way up in the ballad Hades Town, I believe what's happening is like there's some sort of like trial where he'll hear Eurydice call his name, and it's like no matter what happens, even if you hear her screaming for help, as long as you don't look back, once you get to the surface, you all will be together again. There's a multitude of reasons why he does this. Orpheus, on his way up, starts having doubts, and he turns back to look at her because he believes she's in trouble or for whatever reason. And as soon as he turns back to look at her, of course, she gets flung back into the underworld. And he, I think, gets sent to the surface and loses his lover. So I want to talk about the ramifications of what Orpheus did, the deal he was making, and why this as a myth is important as sort of a model of living your life by, in a sense. Like the lesson, it's about the lesson in the myth. Orpheus goes down into the underworld and he makes a deal with the devil, essentially. And the thing about going into other realms, especially like magical realms or fairy realms, is fairies are always going to try to cut a deal with you, like make a deal, even if you don't even understand that you are in a deal. Like if you don't even understand you owe someone something and that you even signed a type of contract. So the thing about Hades, and this is what I love about the game Hades, is like Hades always keeps his word. Like he is like a taskmaster to a contract. Like he takes them very seriously. But he also honors the contract. So if the contract is somehow like annulled in some way, or like the terms agreed upon are met, then he considers a contract honored, and he's not, he doesn't really want anything to do with you past what you have agreed and signed your name to. But Orpheus, he is from the world above, and he's a human. Even though humans do treat each other like this, we pretend like we don't. We don't understand how powerful our words are and what we're signing our names to. So when he agrees to these terms, no matter what happens, don't look back at Eurydice, and then she'll be there with you at the top. It's like he doesn't understand or trust the word of the king of the underworld. He doesn't understand the type of agreement he's just made. In the ballad Hades, I never saw the Broadway play, so I don't really have a visual context. But from what I believe of the ballad, when Orpheus is traversing back into the world of the living with Eurydice in tow, she's behind him, and in some ways he doubts her fidelity to him, in a sense. He doubts that she really wants to leave the life behind that she's made for herself in the underworld, even though it has been very difficult. I think he's the whole thing is that doubt comes in, and it's multi-layered. It's doubt in it's doubt that Hades will keep his word. It's doubt that Eurydice even wants to be with him, because in that one she kind of chose to go down to the underworld. It was she was so hungry that she chose death. And perhaps that's how the Greek myth is. I don't know, maybe I should actually read the original content, but whatever. So he's traversing up, and this journey that he goes on, it reminds me a lot of our journey in magic. Because a big thing when you're doing magic is when you're doing a spell, you do have to, once the ritual is concluded, you have to put it to the back of your mind. You have to forget about it so that it's almost like you're planting it and you're just trusting that it will grow, or also you just know that it will work when your intuition is really aligned and you're it's going to be fine. But we're not always in those headspaces. We're not always in those headspaces where did this work? Did I do this right? Did I do this wrong? And when you start worrying over a spell and you look at it, you turn around and look at it in the past, you're doing essentially the same thing that Orpheus is doing. Orpheus, through a contract with the devil, created a new world for himself and Eurydice. He created a world where Eurydice has a chance to come back from the dead, and that's essentially a miracle. And he is allowed this new world to step into as long as he agrees to the contract. Don't doubt the world that you're walking into. Don't doubt the world you're leaving behind. But he does doubt, and he does look back, and the spell doesn't work. I feel that this is such an important concept for magic and just for my reality. When you do magic, you create a portal to a new world. And for my practice, what most of my practice centers around is a lot of just healing and letting go of the ego. And you've got to believe, when you're trying to heal yourself, for instance, like, you feel so anxious that you can't even get anything done, and you do magic to heal that, you have to believe that it's going to work. You have to believe in yourself. It's a lot of self-care. It's a lot of building good self-esteem, and you really do just have to trust that, like, you've changed and you're becoming the person that you want to be. I have more to say on the myth of, like, Hades and Persephone and all that, but I want to talk about the myth as a whole, just because it is so popular. I guess on the internet I see a lot more about, like, Persephone as a character, but as a whole, the myth, the whole story is a very popular story, and I think that's important, because when you see something recurring over and over, it means that that myth is sometimes how people model their lives without even knowing it. So I'll get into that more, and I think that's it. Happy Imbolc. Bye.